Thank all my guys, everybody back at the shop.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. It's another great week. We have got a Zoom call echo that is destroying my ear, and this is going to be a difficult segment to get to. As you can see, we are back with the boy, PJ Farmer. Got a little guest host from Bowman Gray Stadium, Brandon Woods. What's going on, buddy?
How you doing? Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And then we've got our old pal, Sam Whitman, who thought he was going to get pushed out, but of course he's not. He's on the Zoom call. It's going to be really difficult, but he wanted to Zoom in from, is it Cure or Curry Beach? How do you say that word?
Curie.
All right, it's spelled like cure with a K. Whatever. We don't really care. We're glad Sam's back. He's going to talk to us about what happened between Portland and Sonoma. He's been gone for a while, so glad to have him back, and obviously we'll have him back in the shop next week. Guys, how are y'all doing today?
Not too bad. Can't complain.
I'm glad.
Not bad for a Monday.
Not bad for a white guy, says. All right,
Oh, I said
Sam,
Monday.
what you got going on?
Well, I'm a little surprised by all your bombshells you're deciding to drop tonight, and they're kind of taking me by surprise a little bit. But I'm great. Just back from the sunny state of California, where I had a lot of experiences. I was able to get food poisoning from the delicious clam chowder at Fisherman's Wharf. Besides that, we had a fun time in Portland and Sonoma. We had a fun time in California that week, getting all the cars turned around, and we'll get into more detail about that, as Davey likes to say here later in the episode.
Yeah, well, you ain't got that much time because these Zoom meetings are limited to 30 minutes, so we might as well go ahead and get into that. You said you had a lot of experiences. It is June, and you were in Portland and Sonoma. Any experiences we need to know about?
Oh, Davey, I'll tell you what, buddy. I love when you put me on the spot like that. There are some things maybe I'll tell you about off the record, but everything was pretty good, pretty PG for the most part.
Tell us how Portland go. Obviously, we know we went over it a little bit last week, but being there, you obviously weren't with us last week. How was the great state of Oregon?
Portland was, I guess we were there for 3 days. Wasn't a bad trip. Race, practice and qualifying went decent. I think all 3 cars started in the top 10, qualified top 10. Everything was going pretty well until about 5 laps to go in the first stage when the 11 caught on fire. So that was fun. We had a nice little issue that, nobody's fault. It was one of those freak things that never happened. Ta-da! All of a sudden, next thing we knew, it was on fire. So that was exciting.
Just take your shirt off.
So we kind of salvaged what we could, put it back together, and got it back on the track.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna move on for Portland because we didn't win that race. So what?
Two almost did.
Well, but he didn't, so it doesn't really matter.
He didn't.
So y'all got to stay out there for the entire week. Give everybody that's not at the shop with us a little bit of insight on what that week's like. I know the plan kind of changed, and y'all ended up swapping over some cars. What went into that as far as getting the cars ready for Sonoma after they raced at Portland?
So, obviously, before we, going into it, we had a plan. We're like, hey, this is what we're going to do with this car. This is what we're going to do with this car. But as racing goes, especially at road courses, you beat the crap out of these cars, and we ended up having to change the plans a little bit. So the 10 raced a new car. So that car was pretty much already ready to go. We didn't really have to do a lot to it. The 16 used the 10 car primary from Portland. So we had to put a nose on it and kind of go through and just, just double check everything, check all the nuts and bolts and such. And then the 11, same deal with us, even though our car caught on fire at Portland. We rewrapped, we put a new hood on it, obviously replaced all the parts that caught on fire. So we were in the garage Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week. The rest of the guys were there all 3 days. I was only there 1.5 days in the garage because of my experience with food while I was out there, so that was fun. Hated to leave those guys hanging, but I was not exactly in the best shape to be able to work on anything, much less a race car who's Daniel Hemrick's life depends on. So
Carry on, Sicky. Go.
What?
Carry on.
Sam, why is it you get sick every time you're on the West Coast?
Yeah,
That's true.
the last time I was in Sonoma, I was sick too. It was just a sinus infection then, but I was sick. It's something about San Francisco, man. I don't know what it is.
It makes a lot of people sick.
I think it's just the left coast.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
All right, anyways.
Had
Back
a
on
great
track.
time up until that point, though.
That's good. So, tell us what we got. You built 3 days. This audio is messing me up, so sorry. 3 days in the garage before you hit the track at Sonoma. Once you got on the track, how was everything? Obviously, you said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Building cars in the garage. Friday, y'all had a 50-minute practice session. How was everything there for y'all?
Really well, actually. All the cars held together, and especially when you have a quick turnaround like
That's
that,
really good.
push. It's nice to have them all on track and not have to worry about any issues. We didn't have any issues. We were all decently quick. I can't remember where we ended up. Obviously, the 10 with AJ, and it was the fastest of the 3 in practice, qualifying and the race, which we kind of expected. We had a close call on the 11 with the 27 of Jeb Burton. They lost power. No, they didn't lose power. They didn't lose power. He had a tire go down right in front of us, and on the radio, Daniel's like, "Wow, that was almost big, guys." And then once we rewatched the video later that evening, it was a lot closer than he let off to be. But as far as practice went, everything was good. It was a decent weekend. The results didn't show the speed we had, but unfortunately, you have weekends like that sometimes.
Yeah. Obviously, y'all raced at 8 o'clock, so we were kind of busy here on the right coast watching our boy Kale take home that trophy. Yes, sir. But, obviously, Kyle Larson was a different zip code.
Every time.
I don't know how he was a second and a half faster in the field with AJ Allmendinger in the field, but he was a second and a half faster in the field.
To be fair, that is probably arguably his best road course. One of his best tracks.
It doesn't matter. You're still not a second and a half faster than the field.
I agree, but he's really good.
And he was talking about how he messed up a couple of corners.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he didn't even lay down a good lap.
Imagine if it was perfect.
Yeah. I will say, a little feedback from AJ. He kind of told us how he was able to, he kind of had to work to get the car to run through the corners like he wanted to. I believe he ran behind the 17 for a couple laps, and he said just the way that car went through the corners was obviously nothing, not saying Kyle Larson isn't an extremely talented driver, but he said that the car just looked like it was just smooth as butter going through the corners, and like he wasn't fighting it. I'm sure he was, but just from AJ's point of view, just looked like it was a super, super smooth race car, which is nice at a road course.
And AJ looked like he was manhandling the thing all the way around the track.
He was.
But it was fast.
Oh, yeah, it will
But
be.
he had his hands full.
Oh, yeah.
But AJ looks like he's manhandling a race car anytime you're at a road course.
That's true.
Both times y'all gone to Coda, he's looked like he's just put that thing on his shoulders and he's driving the hell out of it.
Yeah, which is funny because last time we were at Coda in March and he won that race, he said it was the best Xfinity car he's ever driven in his career. And that was he's already had, 16 or 17 wins with us up until that point?
Yeah, 11 road course wins or something stupid like that.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous stat, really.
Yeah, so Larson ran well. He hit the tire barrier, so AJ, a little bit of strategy. AJ finished second to Eric Almirola. Good job to those guys. Obviously, we know that's a Stuart Haas car. He said it in the interview, but that still counts as a Ryan Sieg win, which was, that's cool for the little guy.
Yeah.
But Eric all but admitted, hey, SHR built this car. He
Stuart
might
Haas
have
posted
admitted
it
this.
on their social media.
Yeah.
So.
It was a Stuart Haas car.
Yeah. Well, and obviously, if for sure it was a Stewart-Haas car. But and I think most of, if not the entire crew, was Stewart-Haas guys. I can't say that verbatim, but I think most of them were. Still points wise, yeah, Stewart-Haas car, but RSS, like I said, they get all the points from that, and that's huge. That can really make the difference when you're like, if you show up to qualify a week and there may be rain, just because of those extra points, you may beat out guys, 2 or 3 guys that don't have those points. So,
well, that should put them in the owners' championship playoffs as well. As long as they run all the races. I believe they've run every race. So I think Kyle's normally in that car. Kyle Siegs. So.
Yeah, and also NASCAR did away with the rule where you had to be top 35 or top 30 to be in the Owners' Championship. So yeah, that'll get them there too.
All right, cool. Well, any other exciting stuff you did? I know y'all had a pretty busy Monday out there.
Monday
before you got sick.
Yeah.
I'm done talking about the race. Sunday, MTJ took off like a bullet. It was kind of a boring race. I mean, if y'all have got anything to say about it, you can. But it was a pretty snooze fest. I think it was typical Sonoma before stage racing. So,
yeah, for the most part.
I mean, I don't have anything.
Nothing. I mean, it's kind of just the best thing that happened all day was Hamlin driving himself into the inside wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Hey, even
did you see
good guys make mistakes?
Did you see Tyler Reddick blow a tire coming out of
and my man
11, and he just said,
and went
"The
back
hell with this."
Oh yeah, he just whipped it around, went down pit road.
I don't blame him.
I don't either.
I just wish that 8 car could keep up with the 19.
The 19 was in a different area code.
Yeah, and the stage racing, I think, was what made the difference in our race as well. I mean, it's just like it took, I know people begged for it for the longest time. It's like, get rid of stage racing. Well, you do that, you take away that guaranteed caution. I mean, it completely changed the way the race played out. It was funny because I don't think everybody quite realized that we didn't have a stage caution, because as soon as the stage was ending and you'd see it on TV, crews started jumping on the wall. And they're like, oh, wait, hold on, guys. We're not, we don't have a caution. Like, we may not be pitting right now. But it was just funny. It's like, it's just second nature. Like, stage is over. Let's pit the car.
Yeah. And, I mean, that was only the second Xfinity race without the –
right.
Which I guess it was only the second Cup race without
Coda
it, too.
had plenty of cautions and drama there. So
yeah. And then stage breaks at Portland, so – you got anything you want to get into about the week? I know y'all went some places. You sent some pictures, so if you want to tell all 6 of our fans what y'all got to experience out there. Yeah, it has tripled since I posted our boy Kale's video.
Yeah. Welcome to all the new fans, by the way. If Kale Martin is what brings in fans, I am 100% on board with it. Congrats to him. Davey, I think you may have assisted a little bit on Saturday.
I was there. I'm in the victory photo.
Yeah.
Me and Woodsy.
Hiding in the back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Brandon went out there, too? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was out there.
I'll send you that picture.
As soon as I got the text, I was like, God, I was so happy. And I was like a giddy parent running around the pits like, hey, guess what? Kale won his race tonight. Because, we were 20 minutes into the race. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, maybe that'll give us some good luck. It didn't. But, that's okay.
They said today that the last time a Collie employee won at Bowman Gray, Collie Racing won the race that day. Really? Obviously, that didn't happen Saturday, but...
That's an awesome stat, and I hate that we missed it by 1 spot.
That would have been me.
It's pretty badass.
I'm an employee. I just don't drive.
Oh, that is...
Well, I mean...
that's true, you did.
I remember the same day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, congrats to Kale, and I feel bad for the rest of the street stock field because my boy drove 6 races there last year. Obviously been going over there a whole life and has family doing it, but 6 races last year, and then has been extremely fast pretty much every weekend this year. So I'm not surprised at all, and I know you guys aren't either, that he was able to pull off a win so quick.
He's tied for first in the points right now too.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
and that's awesome. I didn't know he was. I knew he was like third or fourth. I didn't think he was close enough to get up there like that. So that's another awesome deal. Hopefully, he can hang
When
up
do
there.
you get the to grace us with your presence again back central North Carolina? When do you come back
What's
from the
that?
beach? When do you come back?
We will be back Sunday. We're going to stay down
Lame.
here all week, enjoy ourselves. It's a little bit windy today, but that's okay. You know, we like wind here at the beach. We like catching fish. And we'll be here till Sunday and then come on back and join the real world again.
That's exciting. They're running the 50 on Saturday, so I didn't know if y'all were coming back for that. But
No, we'll be back Sunday. I hate I missed that, but I got to have my extra night at the beach.
okay, well, you got anything else you want to add?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look at my list here. I made a quick list. I am literate enough to write down notes. No, I think we got it all. Yep, food poisoning, turning cars around, 10 and 11, 16. Yep, all 3 cars in the top 15. It's a good day, decent day. I wouldn't call it a good day, decent enough. So, that's enough for me. I always do too much talking, so.
All right, that's our boy, Sam Whitman. We're going to
Before you
figure
go,
it.
Sam,
hold on. We got one thing.
Before you go, Sam, I just want to say one thing. You said something on your episode the other day that kind of griped my ass a little bit. And I just want to let you know that Friends is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And you can eat shit.
I feel like we've had this conversation before in the shop. I do.
I know.
And if that's what you like, if you like crappy sitcom TV, then Friends is the show for you. If you want to watch something that is actually entertaining, watch anything else. And you'll be
Well,
in
what
good
we
shape.
don't want is you on this podcast right now. So you have fun at the beach. Us Friends-loving people are going to finish this out.
Good
Sane
luck, guys.
people.
We'll
I
see
love
you next
all.
time.
See you, Sam.
Bye-bye.
See you, buddy.
God, thank God that's over.
Was my mic not working or something?
We're still recording the podcast, by the way. I'm just telling you.
I'm just asking.
We still recording?
We're good.
Are we still podcasting? Perfect. All right.
Sweet.
That went better than I thought it did after an hour and a half of trying to get that to work.
I don't know how to turn these off, so there's that.
Boys always got to make it difficult.
Yeah.
So let's now that's over. I'm gonna pull up my notes so I know what we're doing. All right, so we went over everything. Sam's at the beach. R.I.P. Sam, not here with us. Obviously, still part of the crew. Kale, our boy Kale Martin, first ever win at Bowman Gray Stadium. If you haven't checked out the video, it is on the Back of the Shop TikTok, or you can catch the full one. Fox 8 photojournalist Chris Weaver on Facebook. He posted some scanner audio with some in-car with some nice footage from outside. So I don't roll right now. Okay, so you can hear it. Awesome. Use your words, because I can't hear that.
Take a shot every time you hear woo.
Yeah, if you
We leave it in, it's there.
alright, if you play the game where you take a shot every time you hear woo, you are going to be very drunk very fast.
Very, very fast.
He
It's only
was
a quarter-mile racetrack, and he says
he was hyped.
50.
That helmet
I
took
would
a
be too.
beating.
Yeah, dude.
God. Let's hook him up with a sponsor. Velocity, if you're listening to this, hook our boy Kale Martin up with a new helmet, because he beat the dog shit out of that one.
Brad Smith.
You heard it. Get your boy a new helmet. He'll put a sticker on the car. He's got plenty of room. So, we got the Kale. 50 lapper next week at Bowman Gray Stadium. Obviously, he's starting P2, and we're done talking about him. So, our guy right here. This is kind of a weird episode because we had the Zoom call with Sam. We wanted to get that out of the way because that was the most difficult part. Brandon Woods is our guest this week. He is some sort of helper on Jason Myers' number 4 at Bowman Gray Stadium. I don't really know what their titles are over there. And then he is the first guy I have ever known who got fired for being too good at pit stops.
I was a little ahead of myself.
And he wasn't even on the pit crew.
No.
So
No.
we'll let you deduct that one. We'll let you tell that story. But welcome. It's fun to have you here, and
It's good to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm kind of glad I'm here.
I don't think PJ is glad you're here at all.
I'm glad you're here. A
All
little
right.
bit.
I'm just glad you were able to tell Sam to
No, I
off.
knew that it seemed like you forgot I was going to squeeze that in there.
No, I definitely knew. I was just waiting for you to kind of poke your head in there. Obviously, I didn't have my list up here, so It was a little difficult to.
Thanks, Sam.
And I was trying to get rid of him as fast as possible because that echo in my ear was killing me.
Driving me nuts.
I couldn't talk.
We're gonna fix that.
The echo in my ear or the echo on the recording?
The whole thing. We're gonna fix that for live purposes.
Are you speaking or are you just speaking?
I'm just speaking.
So nobody can hear you.
Sort of.
Okay. Well, we'll move on. He forgot to hit the play button on his microphone or whatever. PJ, you got anything you want to say? I know Sam
Brandon?
said a lot to anybody. You can say it to Photog Dad over there.
Thanks for setting up all this stuff.
That was a mess.
Dylan was saying.
That was a absolute
Love you, Sam.
nightmare.
Yeah, kind
You're still a pain in the
Uh,
ass.
Larson's-
Even from all the way at the beach, you're still a pain in
I don't know if we can say that.
the... Sorry.
He's a pain in the Richard.
The Richard, there you go.
The Richard.
The Johnson.
Oh, man. So, should we just get straight into asking Brandon questions? I think we went over the race. It was pretty
do it.
boring.
Yeah, Sonoma was not a good... I mean, I like the break from stage racing,
Yeah.
but it just... The race itself wasn't that special.
If anything at road courses, I don't know. I feel like the fuel mileage can't come into play like it used to because of the stage breaks, but then they take away the stage breaks and people are still pitting at the stages.
Yeah.
And he would
And flip-flopping the
pack
points.
field back together.
Well, they were still pitting at the stages. You know, it's like, all right, well, let's pit now before the stage since we're not getting any points, and then we'll go to the front of the line when they pit after they get their points. And it was just stage racing without the restarts. Because everybody was still pitting at the same time, and it really threw. There was no strategy.
No.
People weren't two pitting the race like they used to. You know? And I don't know what else to say.
It wa-
Somebody jump in.
It was...
wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah, and I mean, Sonoma's always kind of been a boring race. So I don't know that it was any different, but I feel like the next gen car in Sonoma, they're too good at brakes. You don't have people making
much grip.
mistakes other than Denny Hamlin. And just, there's no wheel hopping.
That's the one thing I miss about... I forget who I was talking to about that. You don't see anybody messing up really anymore getting into 11. I miss the locking up the right front, wheel hopping. We saw Tony Stewart win like that a couple years ago when Denny Hamlin was leading the race coming to the checker. Wheel hopped to get into 11, cost himself a win.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wheel hops anymore. It's impossible to wheel hop
No.
in those things. You just lock all four up.
Yep.
Because of the independent rear suspension.
I don't even like the whole car. The whole car is terrible.
I think we know you don't like it.
It's a Lego kit.
Yeah, it's not good. You got anything you want to input over there? You look like you were hitting buttons.
I was just gonna say, who would have thought we'd be saying thank God Denny Hamlin wrecked, or thank God for Denny Hamlin. But yeah, the car, I mean, it's a perfect race car, and it's hard to make mistakes in it to a certain
Yeah.
extent. So,
Well, that's like, you know, they basically took that car, made a few modifications, took it to Le Mans, and it went from, we're going to run this car at Le Mans, and it's, well, we're just going to let it be there, to, all right, well, we'll let it start at the back of the field, to, all right, you got to start behind all the prototypes because you're fast as shit.
It was fast.
You finished like 29th.
Well, let's be
I think
honest.
it was 39th.
Let's be honest.
39th.
Yeah, because it went to the garage for a couple hours. I don't exactly
I
know
had
how long, but they had a
transmission
gearbox
issues or
failure.
Yeah. But let's be honest.
That car was badass.
If
though.
you were leading, you were wrecking.
Yeah.
Was the way that race went. So, I don't really know, but to be able to last 24 hours at Le Mans, however you say it,
Lemons.
Lemons, no, it's a completely different race. That's at VIR.
That's all over. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, to be able to last that long at VIR, we're not testing attrition of the equipment anymore. So really just, I'd put 900 horsepower on these things tomorrow and be like, well, if it breaks, it breaks. Y'all should build better shit.
Agreed.
Yeah, we're already funneling all this money into aero, into underbody, into trying to figure out. I mean, we just had Briscoe and the 14 team get hit with a $250,000 fine or whatever it was
For a 3D printed.
for a
Yeah.
3D printed aqueduct. I mean, and that they probably spent $500,000 developing that if it was a true cheat. Now, if it was an accident or they just couldn't get parts,
Was
I mean, 3D printed parts are not always reliable and not always good. So, honestly, I know they're not appealing it, so I think that tells us that they made it. They said it was an accidental. It shouldn't have ended up on the car. They didn't run no better. Like,
No.
Still finished
No.
30th. So, I mean,
And Briscoe's not a bad road racer.
well, this was at Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
My
so-
fault.
So, we've gone back, but still.
it was my pick.
Honestly, I didn't even put picks up last week.
Wow.
I was busy Friday with the kids had award ceremonies at school, so I was
Family
there
first.
all day. And
I
then
picked Truex.
who'd I pick?
Not Truex.
Not Truex. I don't even
You
remember that.
picked Chase Elliott.
No, I didn't.
I don't remember.
Whoever I picked, I don't think it was very good. And I don't know if I'm allowed to pick Truex after what was said on the first podcast. So, you boys got anything else?
This is beard, though, right?
His beard is good looking. So yeah, so that was the Cup race. MTJ, that's his 4th win at Sonoma, I believe.
Is it the second of the season?
That's his 2nd win of the season, 3rd if you count the Coliseum. But he won at Dover, and then he won at the Coliseum, which was Bowman Gray on crack. So, speaking of Bowman Gray, if you boys don't have anything else about the National Series, we'll move on. We'll get to know our buddy Woodsy over here. So, y'all got anything else y'all want to put in?
I don't believe so.
All right. As we said, this is our boy Brandon Woods. He is a do-it-all guy at Colleague Racing. I have had the pleasure of knowing this fine young gentleman. 2017, we were in a van headed to New Hampshire.
Yeah, 2017.
Man, you didn't work there.
Fun ride.
He didn't work there for very long, and
No,
we've
I
got
did not.
7 or 8 good stories together.
Yeah,
already. In just that time frame, it was a
Timeless
shit
stories.
show.
Yeah, it was.
It was a shit. So just
I got to know Davey very well the first day I worked there. Came in at 7:30 that morning. Didn't leave till
7:30.
10, 11 o'clock that night.
yeah, it was a late.
Because
one.
that was the
short
car
one.
was going
It
to
was-
Sonoma that weekend.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Was you started Sonoma week and didn't travel
Didn't
with
go
us
to
that
Sonoma.
first week.
Because Rick forgot my plane ticket.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Probably end up being a good thing.
Yeah. Well, that was a nerve-wracking flight for me. That was my first ever flight
Really?
ever. Like
Wow.
I'd never been in an airplane before that.
I flew when
across
I
the
was
country.
like
I'm
6.
named after these two. Like it wasn't a good omen. I had never flew, so I was
No.
kind of nervous. So, Brandon, how'd you get into racing, man? Like, just give us the background on kind of how you grew up and how you are where you are.
Well, I didn't really grow up in racing. I grew up around racing. So my first memories at the racetrack were at Farmington Dragway, actually. My dad helped a guy out there. I was 4 or 5 years old, and that's when I guess you could say the bug got me. I used to ride up in his race car to the staging lanes with him, and I've been ate up ever since.
That's fair. I mean, it's all starts when we're 4 or 5
Yeah.
years old. I mean, I know PJ went over last week how his dad worked at Bill Davis and all them places when he was young, and that's what got him hooked. And I mean, my dad obviously I'm named after Davy and Allen, so obviously it's in my blood, and really anybody that's in this sport at a young age.
Well, my mom actually went into labor with me at the racetrack while my dad was crew chiefing on a car.
You've got all kinds of redneck racing stories, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
My
Didn't you
dad-
get engaged at?
At Concord Speedway in Victory Lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the way my wife would have
Hill
wanted it.
Billy.
Wow. My dad actually took my mom to the Winston while she was pregnant with me.
My dad took me to North Wilkesboro while she was pregnant with me.
You're,
You know what I meant.
Yeah, I got it.
My dad technically took
My
me to
dad-
North
that was the
Wilkesboro
only-
through her.
That was the only NASCAR race my mom ever went to, and she walked out, and first thing she told my dad was, "I'm never going back."
My mom's been to. My mom, as you were, was a Mark Martin fan when I was a kid.
Very big Mark Martin
So
fan.
I remember she went. Actually, me and Dad, and a couple other family members. I don't remember. I think it was my stepbrother and my stepmom went to the 2001 Coca-Cola 600, and I think it was 01.
No, it was like 03 or was Dale Earnhardt racing?
No,
Was
Coke 600.
Was it
If it was
2000
the 01 Coke 600, it was after Earnhardt passed.
Was it 2002?
No,
It wasn't 2001. It was probably 2002.
2002.
There's pictures.
I was 6 or 7 years old.
That guy won.
Yeah. Well, you went to the Martinsville race on your birthday when you turned 4.
Yeah,
It's harder to remember for you.
yeah.
But that was the one Ricky Rudd.
I remember the photos of him just
It's like 9,000 degrees that day.
collapsing.
We were sitting down in turn 1.
I just remember we were at the race, and then Mom went to the race separately from us. She had she had her broken leg. Got to sit up there in the handicap section. And I think it was in turn 1 they had.
I bet that was terrible.
Elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you never. I don't know why, because your current husband's not a NASCAR fan. She told me she doesn't know the last time she watched the race. So, hey, your mom said no dirty words on YouTube, by the way. So,
Well, shit.
damn.
That was the first track my dad ever took me to a cup race at was Martinsville.
I think around here, that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to Martinsville
I would.
than Charlotte all day.
I would too.
but
Every time.
Depends
Well,
on which race.
well now, with this new car, the Charlotte race is actually a lot better.
I'd still rather have a Martinsville hot dog
I would too.
all day.
My dad
It's
took
not
me.
the same as the old original hot dog.
I thought you were about to say you didn't like hot
What are you
dogs like
talking
you don't
about?
like
It's still
steak.
the same hot dog.
Of course, I like hot dogs, Davey.
It's still the same hot dog.
Yeah, they moved away from it, but they went back to
Yeah.
to the original.
It's still a
It
Jesse
tastes the
Jones
same.
hot dog.
It's because you're 38 years old now, Pujo. Your taste buds have developed.
31.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
They were gonna burn that place down the year they changed it to Nathan's.
Yeah, that was a
And the next, and
That
that
was
was
a
at
bad
the spring
move.
race when you came back to the fall race. Because I remember
Back to Jesse
they
Jones.
changed it back to Jesse Jones.
yeah, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, it was not good.
That was a nightmare. So now we got to talk about hot dogs. I forgot what my next topic was going to be. I know, but that's not really
Well,
in any
let me-
order. So
let me-
homeboy kind of
Let me
told
get
us
back
how
to
you got
kind of finish to what I was
listen
talking
to-
about.
Kind of run this into a biography of yourself.
So I told you about how I got where the racing bug bit me, and then I didn't start going to the stadium until like I was probably
That's Bowman
10
Gray Stadium for anybody that doesn't know.
Bowman Gray Stadium until I was 10 or 11 years old.
Different stadium, Mike.
Stadium, man. Went to the first race of the year. Burt Myers won the race, and I already kind of knew them because we were going to church with them at the time, and I was in school with his daughter, stepdaughter. Got out, graduated, went there throughout high school and stuff. Graduated high school, then I went to the Richard Childress program at Forsyth Tech. Got out of that.
Homeboy's turning into Sam with his biography over here.
I'm just saying.
Sounds like Sam's biography. Go
It's
ahead.
not very long. Then I went to work at Rick's right out of school. That didn't go well. Went and worked a couple jobs while I went and did some stuff on a local short track level for a couple years, and then came back when I felt like I was ready to do this again. Because the first time I did it, I was not.
So what'd you do between NASCAR and NASCAR? That's a later question, but you kind of rolled into that. So,
Worked a couple BS jobs that I hated them, but
Same.
and I finally got fed up with them, and I felt like I was ready to do this again, and
Yeah.
I actually put my 2 weeks notice in at the job that I was at before I came to Colleague, before Colleague even hired me.
No, that's fair.
And luckily they hired me, thank God.
Confident man.
I think he was just so fed up that sometimes
No,
you
I was just
gotta
so
quit.
fed up. I wouldn't say confident as much as stupid.
I'd also agree with that statement. So why, you said you've been coming to BGS, Bowman Gray Stadium, since you were a kid. What? I mean, obviously all 4 of us in this room have a special connection to that place for some reason or another. What makes that place so special to you?
It gets a lot of hate because, I mean, people do tear up a lot of stuff over there, but you get, as a fan, it's the best. You get your best, you get your money's worth every time you step foot in that place, no matter what. Because even if you don't think the racing's that good, you're going to be entertained.
It's
no
the
matter
best
what.
entertainment you can get for $12 on a Saturday night.
It really is.
Be entertained from the crowd to the
Yeah,
races.
if you're
to
not
the
entertained by the
fights, to
racing, you're going to be entertained by the crowd.
or the
'Cause
fights.
or the fights, or watching people in the beer garden. I mean, people in the beer garden, they get rowdy.
Went to a fight and a race broke out.
The lady with a baby on her hip flipping off
I don't
their
know.
driver.
Yeah, that's the
That
best. Especially when that child grows up 3 or 4 years from now and they've learned it and they do it.
Oh yeah, it happened to me this past weekend. The kid in front of me and his mom both couldn't have been older than 13 years old. You know.
They must know you.
No,
Oh, well.
they were Chase Robertson fans.
What's wrong with Chase?
Nothing. He got taken out, so they were flipping off the 19 of Michael Adams.
So why'd you get flipped off?
No. They weren't flipping me off. They were in front of me.
Well, they should.
Did he not just say?
That's kind of it's.
I said it
Well, I
happened
thought he
that
was
way.
getting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my apologies. I thought you
No,
I
wasn't
would
getting the
flip you
bird
off.
because I would
not
definitely
this
flip you
time.
off.
Because I've had the bird a couple times over there.
You've had more than the bird over there.
Yeah, that place.
Yeah. We'll move on.
As a
from that.
crew member, that place it sucks a
Yeah,
lot of the
it's
times.
terrible.
But as a fan, it's
I mean,
good
this
every
weekend
time.
was my
Dave.
first weekend with a NASCAR license at Bowman Gray Stadium, and I won. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 100%.
You haven't been going long enough as a crew member.
Yeah, I've been smart.
Yeah, it's very smart. No, I agree.
I've been going with homeboy over here, and it's been
Just go
awesome.
film people and interview them.
100%. That's been my job. Is hey, let's go get some media. Now I got to slave away on. I just hope. I know we don't do anything.
Easy.
I just hope.
You hung out with me half the day.
What's your point? I just
You
hope
didn't do anything.
homeboy never like pisses anybody off because I don't know if I could take a punch for homeboy.
Nah, you'll be hiding in the trailer or something.
You can't.
He's
hide
got
in
an
that
open
trailer.
trailer.
Yeah, well, just
You
climb
can't-
in the back of the truck or something.
Have you seen how much shit's in the back of that truck?
A lot.
Last weekend when it rained, he's like, "Man, get in the truck. I'll drive you to the car." So four of us tried to hop in that thing and sit on 3 tons of shit. I mean, he had old T-shirts.
Hey, you don't
and-
need all that stuff to win at the stadium, man.
Man, it was
Trailer
ridiculous.
don't win a race.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about all the stuff he had in the back seat. 4 people couldn't fit in the Chevy 3500. It's a little ridiculous. A mega cab at that. All right, So how'd you get into NASCAR? How did you getting a job at Rick Ware's come about?
So my teacher at Forsyth Tech at the time, actually, he's at the end of the year or at the end of the program, he told the class, like, if anybody's interested in a job, seriously, come talk to me. And I was one of the only people that came and talked to him. He was like, I can get you I know a guy at Rick Ware, or he said a C+ team at the time. He wouldn't tell me who it was, and now I know why he wouldn't tell me who it was.
That's on the bell curve.
Yeah, and so I went to work for Rick's, or I interviewed with a guy, and I told him, I was like, I'm right out of school.
You can say his name. It was Jonas, wasn't it?
It was Jonas. I'm right out of
Jonas
school,
Bell.
and I'm very green. You're gonna have to get me up to speed, and I just don't think that he had the patience for me.
I don't think
We were all very green when we started there.
I
Not you. You don't count. You didn't work there. I'm talking about when.
I did work there.
Not when I was there. What I mean, I'm talking about when it was me and that kid that tried to screw my wife. We ain't gonna say his name.
Wow.
And then, what'd I just say? I'm gonna bleep his name out now. You said it.
Do it. I don't care. I wanted to.
I
Stir
about
the
kicked
pot
his
a-
ass in
I wanted to
Kansas.
stir the pot a little bit.
How about kicked his ass in Kansas?
And proceed.
Anyways, we were all like,
I just wasn't prepared for something like that in the slightest.
at least you went to school. I was working at National Tire and Battery.
But the school didn't really prepare you for at the racetrack. It prepared you for like.
Never does.
It
In
never
the shop.
does. Yeah, it prepares you for working at the
I feel
shop.
like the only thing that's gonna prepare you for at the racetrack is just getting thrown in. I'm probably not talking, so you probably didn't really hear anything I just said. But just getting thrown into it. I remember my first race, we drove to Kansas. It was a 17-hour drive. I remember leaving Thursday midday. Maybe it was Wednesday. We get there. No, we left a day early because we get there Thursday. And Rick says we're going to go help Bobby Daughter's truck team with Spencer Boyd in it. And it was me, Jalen, and none of us had NASCAR license.
Was that the Grunt style?
Yes, it was Grunt Style 12.
Yep.
None of us had NASCAR license, so we just had to walk past security like we knew what we were doing.
No SELs.
No SELs yet. We couldn't get them until the next day.
I bet you
Because-
really looked like you knew what you were doing.
Our garage, yeah, we got into the garage and helped on the truck. So
Doing something right.
I don't know what we did, but we got past that gate guard.
Fake it till you make it.
Thank God we weren't in Indy. We'd be thrown under the track. But yeah, I mean, nothing's going to speed you up like being thrown in.
Nothing
200
prepares you
miles
for it,
an
and I
hour.
wasn't prepared for it in the slightest.
I remember walking into Rick's the first time. I about peed my pants because I was so nervous. It was.
I was too.
I know. I remember. I was there. What about you? Were you nervous? No, you had your dad. You were in it your whole life.
Yeah, I worked on tons of short track cars before I even got there. So.
You don't have any emotions, so you wouldn't be nervous even if it was nerve-wracking.
No. I'm sure I was nervous. I don't really remember getting there. I remember going to the track the first time, and then you watch it on TV your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of pit road.
Yeah.
My first race with them was Daytona, so I was like,
I remember watching that race.
this is incredible. Like Scott Legacy was driving our car, he wrecked like 3 laps in, so that kind of sucked. But
I see you don't have his car up here this week.
I don't.
That's unfortunate.
Got 2 legends, well 3 legends right here.
Fair. So, obviously, me and you have had our experiences, but there's one experience that I'd like to talk about. We were on the road, and I think our buddy was not quite of age yet.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We don't really know how old he is. He could be 30 for all we know. But
Looks 12, acts 25.
so we were at
Like
the
you said, fake it till you make it.
fake it till you make it. We were at the racetrack, and it was after the race was over, so we were thinking, well, let's
This was we had just unloaded that day. I don't know if we practiced or not. I don't think we did.
I don't think we ever, because if we had truck drivers worth their salt, they would.
Because that would have been on Friday,
Yeah, we always.
the day, the story that you're getting ready to get into.
Yeah, back then we practiced on Friday.
I can't.
Practice qualify on Friday.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, this was
You practice
2
again.
days worth of practice and qualify
Yeah.
and race on Sunday.
I don't miss.
Well, actually, I don't know. It might have been a night race, so he might be right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we go out to eat, and
We went to watch the truck race.
we went to watch the truck race, and homeboy, who was 30 for this story, gets very drunk for the first time. I'll let you finish.
It's all y'all's fault.
You can't blame me because I wasn't paying for
We went to watch the truck race, and you guys introduced me to Jaeger bombs. The first time I ever had Jaeger bombs. The first time, allegedly, that I ever really drank in public.
See, I wasn't there for this, so that's
And
really good.
That's the story.
I think the count was up to, it was either 7 or 8 Jaeger bombs, and was following it with tall glasses of beer. The truck race was under rain delay, I remember, and they ended up getting finally to the point where they were getting ready to start, and that's the.
We were at the restaurant till like midnight.
That was the last thing I remember was the truck race was getting ready to start.
Do you remember the?
I don't know if you can say that.
I'm shot because y'all got mad because I did it wrong. Yeah, the last thing I remember was the truck race was getting ready to start, and the next thing I remember was getting hosed off on the patio outside by Davey.
We were there
Where
until
did you get a water hose?
we were there until they closed, and he puked inside
Oh,
on the bar.
okay.
And then so we finally got him outside. I'm like,
Oh,
paid
and
his
y'all, I
tab.
remember getting carried to the bathroom at one point.
We-
Then y'all took me outside.
We took him outside, and you know how they got like the outdoor patio seating area. Well, he went out there on the patio again, and it's like right at closing. And I walk in, I'm like, "Hey, y'all got a water hose so I can clean this patio off?" Like, apparently he can't hold it. So they give me a water hose, and I'm out there clean the patio off. And I know he's not going to take a shower before we got to go to the racetrack the next day, so I clean him off too.
What a good friend.
The one we're not going to name paid off his tab. They call an Uber. We
I
go
have
back.
still never paid him back for that tab.
Don't pay him back.
I'm
Screw
not.
him.
I'm not planning on it.
I wouldn't even ever see him again.
It's been like
Yeah.
7 years,
To
6,
hell
7
with
years,
him. So, anyways, so we carry him
and
to
it was
the
a
Uber.
hell of a tab. It was
Yeah,
a lot. It was like every bit of $150, $200.
Not my problem.
Oh, that's normal.
That's why I wasn't paying for it. Well, that's half our paycheck.
Yeah.
Literally.
We made $300 a week.
Sheesh.
So we carry him in the Uber, and we're staying in a Days Inn.
Golly.
And our room, it's one of those Days Inn where your room doors are outside.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
The AC
So
barely
we-
works.
That
Yeah.
place was a nice.
Roaches everywhere.
Yeah.
So we carry him upstairs like fireman style. Finally get him in the bed. The next day at the racetrack.
Well,
Go ahead. I'll let you tell us.
the next day at the race. So it was one of those hangovers where you wake up and you don't feel that bad initially. And then I get to the racetrack out in the blistering sun. And
I actually lost my Oakleys that day.
It's
too.
like,
I was kind of pissed.
oh, that is kind of devastating.
They were nice.
It was one of those hangovers that comes on over a period of time.
Yeah. Definitely
And-
didn't drink enough water the day before.
No, not at all. enough alcohol, but I kept
Enough's an
I
overstatement.
kept drinking water and Gatorade until I just stopped throwing up. So the way the garage was, you had the door on this side, your box, and then the door on the other side. Every 15, 20 minutes, I'd sneak around that box and go out back. It was a little grassy area, just puke my whatever water, whatever Gatorade I'd consumed in that period of time, and just puke it all right back up.
Welcome to NASCAR.
And then by the end of the day, when I was finally feeling better, we were all sitting in the lounge in the holler, and one of the people that was working with us at the time said, she went, you know what'll make you feel better, and you're not going to want to hear this, but you need a beer. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
I think I'll pass, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, but
It
no
does work,
thanks.
though.
Anyways, so
So I have not had Jaeger to this day.
I have it about once a year. The last
When's your
time,
birthday, Brandon?
That's none of your business.
Okay, Facebook it is.
the last time I had Jaeger was in West Virginia
Ooh.
with my wife's boss. It was in 2020. West Virginian bars were still open. September of 2020. So COVID's going
We're at
on.
in West Virginia.
Berkeley-ish.
Beckley, or
Beckley.
Berkeley?
Maybe
Beckley.
I don't know. We were
'Cause
going.
I kind of know the.
we
I know
were
where
going
Beckley's
to
at.
the Harley dealership at the New River Gorge.
Yeah, you're in Beckley then.
So it was Beckley, yeah. So I don't remember what the name of the hotel.
you went, yeah.
I don't remember much about that night. I just know we're drinking beer, we're eating. It's a bar in the hotel, so you know it's going to be shitty.
Yeah,
Oh, I've had so many good times. At
Oh,
hotel
absolutely.
bars.
they do turn.
But this
into
is a
pretty
West
good times.
Virginian hotel bar.
Yeah, even better of a time.
It was
They
awesome.
Don't give a crap.
So, anyways, we're eating like fried chicken and mozzarella sticks, like just bar food, and we're drinking. You know,
Oh, that's terrible.
we're drinking cheap beer, Michelob or Busch or something like that. And my boy Byron goes, "You want to do some Jaeger bombs?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I've had enough beers in me that I'll agree to pretty much anything. So we go up to the lady that's behind the bar, the bartender. We say, "Hey, can we get some Jaeger bombs?" She sets out a can of Jaeger, or a can of Red Bull, a bottle of Jaeger, and two of those clear plastic Solo cups. Says, "Let me know when you need another bottle."
No. Shit.
I was toe up from the flow up, boy.
Was it a full bottle?
It was a fifth.
And was it gone by the time you were done?
It was 3/4 of the way gone.
Yeah.
I was up. It was bad. I couldn't talk. Like, we were going camping in Ohio with the women. They left a day earlier, day after us, so because we were going to get that motorcycle from the Harley dealership, and I couldn't talk for the rest of the weekend. Like, I
Seems
threw
like
up that
I've had
violently.
one hangover that bad.
It wasn't a hangover. I threw up that violently from drinking so
Sounds
much
like
that
a
night
hangover.
that I could not speak.
Oh, you were just. Oh, okay.
My voice was. It said, "See you later. I'm going back to North
Left
Carolina."
the chat.
Yeah, it went back to North Carolina and left me in West Virginia.
Thompson, Connecticut. This is the only time I've ever been like super hungover at the racetrack from Jaeger.
What'd you go to Thompson for?
Probably a race.
They had
No,
a,
I'm.
they had the north-south modified deal up there.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was
That's-
assuming it was a modified
Shoot,
race.
it's been like
Way up there for North South.
20,
the best race car.
11,
Actually, by the
something
way,
like that.
Mortifieds.
mortifieds. Late models suck.
Supers are pretty awesome.
Supers are badass. Late model stocks ain't it. That's my hot take for the day.
This hot take's wrong, by the way. So, we've got your experience. I mean, there's that story. There's a time we got pulled over in Connecticut.
I actually told that story today.
I know, I heard you.
I forget who I was talking to, but
It was an
yeah, when we
awesome
were
story.
driving to Loudon.
Who's driving?
And I
Him.
was, I
He's
was
driving.
I was driving. I mean,
We weren't doing anything stupid. It's
Yeah,
just
we weren't
me and
doing
him in
anything
a,
stupid.
a
It was-
Grand Caravan driving
Yeah.
13 hours to Loudon, New Hampshire. And it's just me and him. So it's late that evening. Well, we don't have enough gas money. And we also don't, you know how the gas stations are on the roads up there in Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
like on the highway but off the highway.
Yep.
it's literally like a pit road. It's great.
Well, we need a gas station because we're like 12 miles empty and there's no gas stations nearby. So we are on this tractor trailer's ass just trying to save fuel.
I'm pretty sure that it was
You
your
were
idea.
drafting.
I did it, but I'm pretty positive it
Were
was
you,
your idea.
were you popular in neutral?
we were doing all
I
kinds of
can't
stuff
remember.
because we didn't have any gas. Like,
But it was working. It was working.
until
Yeah, until
blue lights popped up, and I'm like, shit. This is just so we pull over. He kills the car. Officer walks up. He goes, "Y'all realize y'all were driving pretty close to that tractor trailer. I whip out my NASCAR license. I'm like, listen, man, we're about out of gas. We're headed up here for the NASCAR race.
I don't think that.
We drove away.
It did work, though.
With no warning, no ticket, and he told us where the nearest gas station was.
I've never gotten a warning.
Me neither. I've either got a
Wow.
ticket or nothing. He just told us, hey, gas station's about 3 miles up on your right. And we're like,
He
perfect.
asked-
We've got 4 miles to empty.
He said, "What team do you guys work for?" We're like, Rick Ware," and he was like, nah, "Never heard of him."
Just get out of here, boy. We might not even have been in.
Sure you would.
Where were we at? Were we in Connecticut?
I think we were in Connecticut.
What a shithole.
Yeah.
That whole upper region, I can't stand.
Vermont was nice.
I've never been to Vermont, have I?
Didn't we go through Vermont?
I don't know where Vermont is in
It
relation.
might have
to
been
New
Connecticut.
Hampshire.
There was one stretch. It might have been either Vermont or Connecticut. I don't even know if we went.
I
To
know I've been to
Vermont.
Connecticut
That's
with
been
you.
that's been a long time ago. But there was a stretch of highway that
We
was
met
just
Ralph there.
We won't talk about it. I've met Ralph a lot of places.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that one. So there's that. So what happened in Indy with Rick Ware? I know that was a fun weekend, but
It was a fun weekend, and it was.
you were really good at pit stops.
I was ahead of the game. I was ahead of the game, buddy.
You were at something at the game.
I was ahead.
Beep.
Do you remember the rain delay that day?
I don't remember
That
much
day,
about where
that
the
was a
race.
long day. Well, we were in the garage, and it was race day.
Yeah, I know it was
It
race
was
day.
race day,
I'm aware.
and we have not quite the stuff we need to do at the time this stuff properly. So we got one of those crappy Daytona jacks on one side of the car.
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight.
Was that the one with the cut off jack handle?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Probably.
It was like 2.5 feet tall.
Probably.
It wouldn't fit in the because you know at Indy when you run so low, you're trying to get all air out from underneath it, and the side skirt openings are like that big to allow the jack in. But you know the Harbor Freight jack, the wheels are like that wide, so you had to slide that thing in there.
kill
just
the
to get-
kill the
Play some
certain
Tetris to
process.
get her in there.
So we had that on the left side, and then he had a race jack on the right side because that's all we had.
Yeah, pit road jack.
So
And I'd never really used one before.
we found out.
Yeah. And the right side of this car is like 4 foot off the ground. I go to crack that thing, and it all at once, smack. Breaks the right rear shock mount.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
and we're about to go through tech.
we're about to go through tech. So we find a welder.
Drag it the mile and a half
Yeah.
from.
Oh
where
yeah,
the
it came out of the
trucks are.
hauler.
Yeah, because the trucks park at Indy.
so far away.
It's like you just take all your stuff to the garages. And we weren't in the nice IndyCar garages. We're in one of the Xfinity garages.
But so we
mean,
get the
because-
shock mount welded up. We get it semi fixed, and we're rolling through tech, and obviously our right rear heights are completely screwed. No, they're screwed.
So you
and
just
Jonas,
like welded the shock
Yeah.
mount
Yeah.
wherever.
yeah,
Just-
pretty much. And Jonas looked at me and he goes, because we're both standing in the back of the car, and I'm gonna drop it because it's what he said. He's like, "Congratulations, Brandon, you f***ed us." I was like, I felt great. I felt great.
You remember Tony Furr tried to for
my boy
qualifying
Furr.
for qualifying instead of so you know how on the right side we used to have those the double NACA that would come in for driver cooling. We tried to block
On
those
April?
off. Yeah, he tried
Oh
to
yeah, they
block
told
those
us
off,
that was wrong.
but he didn't use helicopter tape. We used black gaffer's tape to try to block it off. And NASCAR looks at it and goes, "What the hell is this? Now, take that off right now."
And
I should send you back to the garage, but take that off. I'm like, God.
And our what that team was at the time, the qualifying effort wasn't that bad. We were ahead of some cars that we probably should have been behind, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you're starting at the rear on Sunday."
If we hadn't had, because we had some electrical issues that week.
Oh, you remember that?
I think Carl Long ended up finishing like 6th.
You remember plugging the battery back in, or one of the guys working there plugged the battery back in and almost burned BJ McLeod alive.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was not good.
Yeah. And Lauren, because she was under the hood.
Yeah.
Or under the dash panel. It's like that time Derek come down pit road. You remember that?
With the pink smoke?
And Howie in there just ripping the battery out while the battery's
That
on
was
fire.
the thickest pink smoke I've ever seen in my life.
That was gross. So needless to say, after that weekend, Brandon was no more at Rick Ware Racing.
Negative.
It was a good 5-week stint, but he was definitely gone after that.
By choice or?
Nah, he was fired.
Oh,
He was.
And I was not mad about it.
There was literally me.
Jonas said by
No,
choice.
because everybody lasted up until Darlington, other than you. And then everybody quit because of what happened at Darlington.
Yep.
So Rick come to me and Lauren because we're the only two left other than Jonas. Because even Tony quit. And he goes, "Hey, man, listen, I'm going to give you a $100 bonus a week if this car just finishes." And I'm like, really? That's pathetic, but okay. I'll take
I
it.
got a whole $400 now.
No, because I got bumped up. I was making $600 a week then. So that was $700 a week in my pocket if we finished the race.
I'll push it across a
That's
little.
not
Talk
terrible
about
money.
twice.
No, not.
We would work our asses off to make sure if that thing, something happened in the garages, we would get our money. God bless America.
What a shit show that was.
That was a great time in my life.
And then you had to use it for gas money to go home.
Yes, because you're going downhill. The parameters are different. Geography.
I
You're
will
going
never forget
uphill in the snow, both miles, 5 ways.
that. I will never get that.
I don't know what the saying is. Yeah, that was. Oh my goodness. Anyways, all right, I'm done talking about Rick Ware.
Yeah,
I'm having flashbacks.
I'm having PTSD. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm good.
So anybody got any good cheating stories? Anybody? What got anyone to tell?
I
We don't
think
cheat.
you know of at least one that I was involved in, but we can't say where it was or who it was with.
Is it the one I'm thinking about?
Some files and
Yeah. Have you ever heard this story? We were working
Some
together.
files?
Yeah, we may or may
Yeah.
not have messed with some equipment that was not ours, and we were the only car that passed tech.
Where was this? Who
So-
was this with?
We just said we can't say.
so we can't say
It's not either of our current teams because
No.
obviously we're not on the road.
Were y'all working together?
yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So we go through tech, and we pass everything except for the shark fin templates.
It was just a little one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the deck lid shark fin.
Yeah.
So crew chief tells me, "Hey, fix it." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." Take it apart, and like I'm at the bottom of the Lexan. I can't move this thing up anymore. Like I can't do it. I was like, "We need another piece of Lexan so I can make one that's tall enough." He was like, "Well, we ain't got one. Make it work." So I'm like, "Okay." So I go over, I get the templates during practice, and I'm trying to fit it up as close as I can. I'm like, this is never going to work. I'm like a half inch off. This is never going to work. It wasn't a half inch. I'm exaggerating. It was like a quarter. But
That's still a lot.
yeah,
You didn't bring your Lexan stretcher that week.
no, I did not. But what I had was some files.
I see where this is going.
So the template's made out of aluminum. And I had these files. And I'm like digging. Because I know we got to be in tech like, I don't know, it was like 30 minutes or something. We got to be in tech.
So I walk around the back of the car, and he's standing by the generator. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, shut up and stand there. And I'm like, okay. And he's just
I am filing away. Because
allegedly.
the template is like the shape of the shark fin. But then it's got like these two posts that go down on the deck lid, and that sets your height and everything. Well, I'm sitting there, I'm filing down those two legs, and I'm like going to town on this thing. And I already knew how much I needed to take off, so I was taking a little extra off. And Davey's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Shut up." I was like, I'm doing my job. Like, crew chief said, make it work. So that's what I did.
Sounds like you did your job.
So that's what I was paid to do. I was paid to do my job. So I go take it back, set it on their table. Everything's
Nothing ever
good.
happened.
Oh, took a little Scotch Brite, made it look all machined out, you know. Looked real nice. We go through tech, flying colors. Everybody else, every team, except for us, failed tech that day.
There were 38 cars there. 37 of them had to go through twice.
That is awesome.
The crew chief looked at me and he was like, "I don't know what you did, but it worked."
I
was
like it.
"Yes, sir." Pat myself on the back for that one.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was a. I just remember walking. I'm like, what's this Joker doing? Because I didn't know him that well. I mean, we've been working together for a few months. I was like,
I did what my boss man told me to do. He told me to make it work. That's what I did.
Made it work.
so what are y'all doing?
What do you mean?
Y'all soaking tires?
No.
Y'all running big tires?
No.
Y'all running dry ice in the gas tank?
No.
Anything over there happening?
No. Not really.
I heard some mind games might be happening.
Some mind games may or may not be happening. Look, we just change the scenery, man.
Change scenery's always nice.
That's actually Bert and Jason's original parking place. So they're just taking back what's theirs.
Well, that's fine. Just reclaiming property.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
I don't either.
Anyways,
Some others might, but I don't.
some others ain't been qualifying worth a damn either.
No, they haven't. It's funny how they were so far off the first week we parked over there.
Get the techs close to them. Get the officials
Get
close
the
to them.
officials.
Officials.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna bash them. Okay, they passed Kale after the race with a perfectly
It's
legal radiator.
different set of officials.
It doesn't matter. They're all grouped in one. How long have we been going?
2.5 hours.
It feels like it's 8:30.
1 hour and 7 minutes.
Oh, we're on target.
We are on target because I'm about out of things to ask.
We're good.
So if y'all have got anything else y'all want to add, I mean, I think we just heard the best story we're gonna hear in a while. A few of them. We obviously know he doesn't like Jaeger bombs.
No.
He's not a big fan of shark fins.
He's not a big fan of Burt Myers either.
I don't hate him.
Remember when you never mind. Remember when you threw that guy out?
That was one time.
It was
I remember
a pretty big deal.
It was pretty recent.
It was very
remember
recent.
it. Pretty good. Hey, you're right, you're wrong. He was wrong that time.
Not really. Allegedly. Technically, he was not wrong.
Yeah, he was wrong.
Nah.
Did the win stand or not?
No.
I guess technically he was wrong, even if he
No.
was technically not wrong.
No.
If y'all want to go outside and scrap, the camera can detach from the tripod.
PJ's probably got something to show.
He's taking his shirt off.
I don't dislike Bert.
I don't think I've ever seen this man wear a Burt Myers shirt.
I don't dislike Bert.
Where'd you buy that? The Baby Gap?
No, I got it from Bert. Well, actually, his wife.
Is that his wife's shirt?
It's way too big to be his wife's shirt.
Be a dress.
You never know. I was just asking.
Looks like you're surrounded by orange and black there, David.
Yeah.
I'm wearing red and black.
You missed the boat on that deal.
I'm the moderator of this podcast, so I have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Neutral.
Biased.
Yeah, neutral.
Non-biased. Stop it.
What? Nothing?
I've been nothing but neutral this entire time. I'm like gray. I'm as neutral as it gets. Just doing the best of my ability. All right. Anyways, do you have anything else?
I can't
I don't
you
believe
got one on
so.
my shirt.
PJ, I
great.
love your new shirt. It's great. We know you're.
We are back at the shop. Thank you.